Good morning. Happy Monday. It is Monday, February 20th, 2023. This is Rule My Realm. I'm your host, Tim McKay. Glad you're here. Glad to be speaking to you on this holiday Monday. And I wanted to speak to you guys about a couple of cool things today. The first one is, if you've been following my channel, I've been using this little weekly calendar. And it's been the bane of my existence, although I know I want to and need to use it to stay on target around certain tasks I'm doing. I've been undisciplined and not been following it. And so as a result, I haven't been getting stuff done. This past week, I feel like it was the first time I actually went back to it and I referenced it on more than one day. And as a result, lo and behold, I got stuff done. I got a lot of things done last week. And I thought it was really healthy and a lot of really good stuff happening. And so I'm going to be, after this video here, I'm going to go and fill it in for this coming week here because I have more stuff to put in there now. A lot of stuff has been checked off, so I'm really happy that that's happened. This past week, of course, was February 14th, Valentine's Day. My lovely wife, I had been putting this on my my office door, this little on-air post-it note, and she decided, that is cute, but she decided to get me some of these door knockers instead. So there's a black one, there's a red one in use at this time. So I thank you to my wife for that lovely gift. It's very thoughtful. And so this week I've been working a lot on trying to make my plans around my software that I want to be launching called SQL Anvil. Now, where I've been kind of going this back and forth around should I even do it? And I spent a lot of time this week looking at the competitor site again, and kind of got to the point where the two main competitors I have, they both are sponsoring like these massive blogs with millions of users that are targeting. This is the target market audience for the same thing I'm looking at. So they have a captive audience. I don't have that. How the heck am I going to go after well-funded super mega giants that have all the stuff? They have everything that you could possibly need for marketing. And so I was kind of at that point where I'm like, you know what? It's not worth it. And so I'm going to slip into a little presentation here in a moment here. I want to talk about something I was working on to kind of calculate the cost to build an MVP solution and get it to market and look at some of the numbers. So let's dive into that first, and then I can follow up with a conversation after that. So we're looking at this spreadsheet I put together, and this is just going to do a little bit of a top-down dive here. But basically, the first few columns here they're just a description of the the item. Then we got a low to a high range. So I wanted to kind of see on the best case, worst case scenario, somewhere in between is where it'll hopefully land. So what I wanted to look at here is, okay, for if I was to stack up 3 or 4 my product ideas relative to what my competitors are doing, and say, okay, I want to do 3 or 4 of these things and see which one would have a bake off, right? So market them in parallel with the idea that I wouldn't be building the product. I would just be building a visual, a landing page that kind of pre-markets it, so I can collect signups, and so the signups would basically be their way of paying for the conversion, right? That sales conversion happens at the point of paying their name so that they can get on the list. So that demonstrates to me that they're willing to take some action to proceed and get on the list to wait for this potential product. So idea is that I would spend probably 4 to 6 hours to build like a screen, 1 or 2 screens as mock-ups of fake data, fake information. It would just kind of look-ish like what I would eventually make. From that, I would do a 60-second explainer kind of intro video, 2 to 4 minutes, 2 to 4 hours of that it would probably take, and then put together an ad campaign, so 1 to 2 hours, and then writing the text and the verbiage for a landing page, 2 to 4 hours, and then actually implementing and putting that page online, another 2 to 4 hours so that ends up costing 11 to 20 hours of my time. Depending on how elaborate and how much problems I encounter. So I'm consulting right now. And there's this notion in business called an opportunity cost. And the idea with an opportunity cost is if I choose to do this path instead of that path, I'm now foregoing potential opportunities or revenues or incomes from this thing. So if I'm spending 11 to 20 hours consulting, I would make a certain amount of money. If I defer that and do something that's not going to make me immediate money, that's an opportunity cost. Because now I'm spending 11 to 20 hours of my time not consulting. So I'm based on the rate I have with this client, $1,200 to $2,200 of my time would be lost not consulting. Add in a couple $100 for some ads, and that comes to $1,500 to $2,500 for each item, for each kind of concept. So if I was doing 3 or 4, that's up. On the high end, that's $10,000 of lost consulting revenue. So this kind of has to have a bit of breadth. It has to have some chance of success. So how do we measure that? Well, a couple of things. This whole campaign, this ad campaign, would give us some metrics around bounce rates, click-through rates, all sorts of neat things that we can use, and I'll talk about that a little bit more down the line here. But at this point here, we've got this cost of investment here. So let's say of those 3 or 4 potential products, one might come out the winner. One might be, hey, I got a lot of people signing up. Let's look at that one first. And so I would look at that and I would start to build the alpha. And the alpha is basically a first working version that I can actually run and make a couple more videos, get some more buzz and excitement, and get some feedback. But no one else other than me is using it. So I want to go to, and then I would continue on building it and making it more refined so that it's at the end of that, I now have a version I can provide to people. They can try it out. That's the beta. And then finally, after they've tried it, they've experimented, they've given me some feedback. This is working. That's got a bug. That's not working. I don't like this. Please add this really good thing. Perfect. So each of these things I'm saying it's between 80 and 160 hours of additional development time. Adding to that, because I already have a website live and running on this app about this app, now we've got another 2 to 4 hours to kind of add more content and to 4 to 8 hours of implementing it. And that might include a change of a new video or something like that. I don't know. But a little bit of time allotment for that. So that comes out between 250 to 500 hours essentially of more opportunity cost. So we can see the totals there coming now when we factor in the original. And this is just assuming a 1-to-1. We're not talking here, it doesn't include the multiples. Like if I did 3 or 4 of these plus 1 of these, that hasn't been factored in this math logic. But that's the idea, is that I would be smart enough to pick maybe one that would be hopefully a good chance of winning, and then I just go straight in. So at the end of the day, what this tells me is that this initial cost, like in the past, my approach would have been build, code, make some software, and then crickets, because I didn't go through the process of should I stage out who's interested in doing this. Because now so by spending just a little bit of money, a little bit of my time, so that's 4 to 5% of the total production cost to get a version out the door. So $28,500 to $57,000 is what it would cost to produce a software title on my time. Now, using the sell price of, say, about $300 US per year as an annual subscription for a license of whatever this program is, that's $400 Canadian, because I'm in Canada. This number's all in Canadian. And averaging out the Google plus the Microsoft ads comes to about $1.25 on average for me. And so what that means is to make back this $28,000 to $56,000, I need to have 71 to 140 customers paying to break even, just to get back to zero. No profit, no reward, nothing, just to break even. So based on some metrics I've seen already with some of my prior marketing activities on the SQL Anvil topic, I've lowered the numbers a little bit to make them a little bit worse, just to make it really stand out. But I want, when somebody comes to the site, how ads work is you throw ads, they're displayed on the website. So that's an impression. Somebody has to click on it, then they come to your site. That's a click-through rate. That's what I pay the ads for, the $1.25. Now, once they hit my site, the customer might say, I don't want this site. This isn't what I want. Get me back. I hit the back button. I'm out. So they've interacted in no way with the website. That's a bounce. So they've bounced. And what I'm estimating here is about a 70% bounce rate. I actually should increase that because it's been a lot higher, but I'm hoping that this will be relevant. And so, anyways, if they haven't bounced, and that means they're starting to scroll or clicking on things, they're reading. That means they're now deem them a visitor. Of those visitors, a portion of those should hopefully be buying whatever the thing I'm selling. So, based on these percentages, it works out to I need to spend $15,000 to $30,000 to get my 71 to 140 customers. All right. Now, if we do some additional math here, we'll say, okay, well, based on these ad spends, to get that number of customers, I'm spending, my customer cost of acquisition is $208 per. Every customer, it's costing me $200 to acquire them, and based on a $400 Canadian cash, revenue, that leaves me $193 in cash flows. So anyhow, what that works out to is when I start to factor in the amount of money I need to break even, so that now considers basically it's this $43,000, which is opportunity cost plus the ad spend. So that's this original development cost plus the $14,000 here and the $29,000. That's between $43,000 and $86,000 of total cost of this project. Now my real number of customers is 150 to 300 customers. So if I'm not making really, really good strides at the beginning here, and I don't see lots and lots of people relative to the percentages and all that stuff wanting to go into on this thing, it's non-starter. And then I've saved thousands and thousands of dollars, right? I've saved all of that ad spend down here, and I've saved all of this development cost. Well, this development cost right here, and I've only spent in this small percentage. And guess what? It's only taken like a week of effort. So that's a good idea. After I looked through all that stuff, I started reviewing it. And I started thinking about the website that these competitors have, and how sophisticated they are, and how established they are. They're well-known brands. Who wants to go through and buy from some unknown? And I was resonating with this quote last few weeks from Elon Musk, and he's talking about this idea of this delta of utility, which means if I'm making only a small change or small improvements, then this has to affect a lot of people. If I'm making big improvements, it only has to affect a small number of people. Otherwise, nobody's going to care. It's not going to be a valuable. There's not going to be enough value there for the world. You put it out there, it's not going to be enough out there. And I almost all but decided to shut down this SQL Anvil stuff last week, and I said, forget it. It's not a Goliath I really want to go and tackle. Like it just seems like a long drawn out journey, and I don't like. It just is defeating. And then I guess it was about Thursday. I was watching some YouTube videos, and that pops an ad from one of my competitors. I'm not going to mention them, who they are, but it was for a competing product, and the ad was terrible. I looked at this ad and I said, if that's the best they've got, and these are the well-established, like these guys are backed by venture capital, and I'm like, this is the best ad they can produce. I can do that. And I became rather emboldened. I thought, you know what? The world needs more pizza joints. There always seems to be this thing, sure, Elon Musk is right. Yeah, you can add value in the way of he's talking, but I think value also comes from simple things like choice. We're coming into a recession. We're coming into a point where and I've been doing the studies, I've been doing the analysis on these competitors, and their prices have been going up and up and up. If I come in as a new character at a lower amount, the customers might look at that and say, you know what, it does the most of what we need to do. It's not the Cadillac, but I could sure use a Honda right now, and maybe they'll buy what I have to offer at a lower cost, and they'll take the chance on a small dude like me, and it could be a really good win-win. And so coming back to my notion about pizza, like I've always said to my wife, I said, like she's had some ideas of her own for different this, that, and the other entrepreneurial thing. And then what happens is, but someone else is doing it, right? So she completely backs away. But as the wise King Solomon said, there's nothing new under the sun. And so this comes back to pizza. And now it's interesting because you would think that with all the restaurants, all the snack places, all the food joints, all the gin joints, you would think that there would be no one saying, hey, I'm going to open a new pizza joint. But there's always a new pizza joint because the world needs more pizza. And people like pizza. And for the most part, a lot of pizza tastes the same. But then there are some that, hey, we make this special crust. Others are like, oh, we have all the fancy toppings. And these other ones are all focusing on, plant-based. And you got these ones all focusing on that. And they all have something different to offer. And it's slightly different. And it doesn't have to be completely revolutionary. It just has to be different. And I think that's the value that I can bring to this space, is a different way of thinking. Because I don't think like most of the people either watching this video or out there in the world. I don't think like most people do. I've learned that. I have a different perspective, right or wrong. I'm not sure if I'm crazy or if I'm a genius or somewhere. I'm not in between. I know I'm on the fringe of how thought goes because I don't approach problems in the same fashion that others do. And so I think I need to harness that and bottle that and put that into something that people can try. And I think that's where that's my secret sauce, essentially, right? So that's my secret tomato paste that goes on my pizza. And I think that could be enough to make small to medium changes and providing maybe some cost differentiation that will be superior or compatible with a marketplace that's maybe ripe for change in a recessionary environment. So those are some of the thoughts I have there. I think I would pursue that. And it kind of got me thinking about a couple of other ideas, software-related ideas. I'm doing more YouTube stuff, and there's one kind of technical challenge I'm trying to solve all the time, and I've got a trial or a free version of something, but they want like $30 to upgrade to do the features I need, and I'm like, so I'm gonna build one, I think, and just put it out there and see if maybe I'll make some side money. I don't know. But anyways, onwards and upwards. I'm looking forward to this week because I think I'm going to have some good plans. I got some good stuff happening here. I'm going to have a good base to go after some of these ideas. And so I'm going to narrow down to 3 areas of this whole strategy I'm curious and interested in. And I'm going to pursue them. I'm going to start to work on those those MVPs and get those isolated. So I think for this week I'm going to decide on the 3 I want to do. That'll be my goal, and then carry forward into next week, and I'll package one, and I'll just see how they do. So that's the plan. Because I'm sharing these videos just as a way of helping others, and I'm just in it for the stats. I'm not looking to make any money off this channel or monetize it in any way. So like it, subscribe. If you're interested in connecting, let me know. Just put a comment below. If you have better ways or thoughts about how I should be approaching some of these things, also put a comment below. I'd be curious to hear what people would be saying about that. So thank you very much. And like I said, hit that like on your way out. Cheers.